Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get more of these no-nonsense nutrition videos. Hi everyone, I'm Amrita and welcome to my channel Fries and Shine. Here you will find evidence-based, no-nonsense nutrition-related information. And today's video is about dandruff. Now today's video is going to be a little different. Today's video is actually an interview with a specialist in this field. In order to learn about what dandruff is and how best to manage it, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Shimoni Kadakia, who's a gold medalist in her field. She specializes in dermatology, trichology, and in cosmetology. She also keeps herself super up to date about the latest research in her field, which is why I thought it would be really interesting to interview her and to learn about dandruff. I will also be linking her contact information and clinic information in the description of this video. So if you are interested to learn more, you can check it out there. In the meanwhile, let's get right into the interview. Hi Dr. Shimoni, how are you doing today?
Hi Amrita, I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Have you been going into your clinic?
Yes, so we are definitely working as even though the pandemic is on, but we have continuously been working, although the online work is a little more nowadays. But now with the unlockdown happening and things opening up, people have started walking in again to the clinic. So we were never shut, we were working both ways, but
Okay.
with all the due precautions.
Super. So I guess one way that this online system has really worked is that it's also allowing us to do this interview today. It's a very convenient
Yes.
tool, so thank you so much for agreeing to do it this way. And just for everyone who might not have caught the beginning, the topic for today's discussion is dandruff. As I was made aware by Dr. Shimoni really recently, that monsoon is a time that dandruff actually really picks up for a lot of people. So I thought that just while the monsoons are starting would be a good time to address this topic. So let's get right into it. Can you first off tell us what exactly is dandruff?
So basically, see, dandruff is not only restricted to what you see on the scalp. So there is a lot more to dandruff that you should know. Mainly, dandruff is the scaling of skin or the exfoliation of skin that happens from your scalp. Okay, it may be associated with the fungal activity by the species called Malassezia furfur. It is, that fungus resides on your scalp as a commensal. It is just present on everybody's skin. Now, when it becomes pathologic or when it becomes, it gets these triggering factors where it starts to grow more, that is the time you start seeing visible dandruff. Okay. And the scientific name of dandruff is called Pityriasis sicca. That is what dandruff is called. Now, dandruff can be of two varieties broadly classified as dry dandruff and wet dandruff. Okay. Now, dry dandruff is something that you normally see powdery flakes coming out from your scalp, and they fall off on your clothes or on your shoulders, or they are stuck to the hair shaft some of the times. And when you flick it off, it can get removed. When you just flick it off, you can get rid of it. And another category is called wet dandruff, or it's an eczema of the scalp, which is called as seborrheic dermatitis, which also looks like dandruff. Okay, so that is mainly related to the sebum secretion or the oil gland secretion from your scalp skin. And that secretion dries up and eventually forms some thick scales of crust on your scalp. So sometimes, some people may have these very itchy, bothersome flakes of dandruff stuck to the scalp, and when they try to peel it off, it comes out in form of yellowish or golden color flakes also sometimes. It can also be associated with some bleeding because those crusts are highly stuck onto the scalp, and the action of removing it or peeling it off can give rise to some bleeding as well. So mainly these are the types of dandruff that we need to know.
Right. And is dandruff more common in, say, males versus females, or is there a difference in genders that you see?
As I just mentioned, that it is related to the oil secretion and the sebum secretion coming out from your skin. And that is the reason why we see more dandruff in men, because their oil glands and their sebum glands are more in number than women. Okay, and they are more in quantity present on the scalp distribution. So, in general, the male pattern dandruff is more commonly seen.
Okay. Would you also, just because you mentioned, that it happens because of oil production and oil glands in the scalp, I do know that a lot of girls with PCOS also commonly have, elevated androgens when you do blood tests, and you'll see high levels of testosterone in them. And they do complain of like really oily, even facial skin. So does this also increase oil production in the scalp and then cause more dandruff for them potentially?
Absolutely. So that you're giving the reason yourself. That is the high androgen activity that gives rise to that dandruff formation on the scalp. So definitely, people who have more, PCOD tendencies, the girls who have high tendency for developing acne or developing symptoms of facial hair and other PCOD related signs, they will more or less be prone to getting seborrheic dermatitis of the scalp also.
All right. And I know you mentioned that this happens more in the monsoon when we spoke about this. And that's in fact why we even decided to address this right now. So can you talk a little about how like environmental factors might be impacting dandruff creation?
Definitely. So the reason I mentioned the monsoons is mainly because of the high humidity. Now, I just earlier mentioned that it is because of the high sebum and the sweat gland secretion. So the time you sweat more, your glandular activity is high, and that is the time when your secretions are high. So they dry up faster, and you start seeing visible dandruff. In the monsoon times, first of all, there's a change of season. So from the summers, you are going into the monsoon, and the humidity levels are much higher in a place like Bombay. So your sweating tendency increases. That in turn also increases the growth of that fungus on the scalp. So there is a fungal proliferation that you can see on the scalp. And so these are the reasons why you would see more dandruff associated in your monsoon season. Sometimes people get wet in the rains, and their scalp remains a little moist and damp. That again gives a trigger for the fungus to increase. So these are the few reasons why you see high dandruff cases, especially wet dandruff in the rainy season. And in the winters, there's more of dry dandruff because of the inherent dryness of the scalp, the atmospheric dryness of the scalp that is present. So these can be the seasonal variations that you can see for dandruff.
All right. And you mentioned wet and dry. So can it also be possible that the same person can have both kinds of dandruff, or maybe have like wet earlier in the year in the monsoon and then develop dry dandruff, or does it not switch like that?
Yeah. So see, basically, it depends on your tendency also, right? So some people have acne, some people don't. It's because of your skin being more prone to it. Similarly, in dandruff also, you could have both types of dandruff, but depending on the seasonal variations, you can have different manifestation of the dandruff.
Okay.
Is what I can say.
All right. Very interesting. And does this dandruff cause or kind of worsen hair fall if you're already experiencing hair fall? I know a lot of people say this. I just don't know if there was any truth to it.
Yes, so there is a correlation of more hair fall related to dandruff, especially when you have the seborrheic dermatitis dandruff, where you see those thick crusts or thick scales coming out from your scalp. That can be associated with more hair fall than any other usual person.
Okay, so that's we've been having a lot of hair fall related questions over the past couple of months. So everyone who's listening to this, if you were one of those people who asked me a hair fall related question, or if you have been concerned, do know dandruff is one aggravating factor. So do get that checked. Does it always need to be checked by a professional, or can you do something like on your own at home?
So see, there are a lot of nowadays there are a lot of OTC products, over-the-counter things which are available for the treatment of dandruff. But sometimes, if you don't know, what type of skin your scalp belongs to, or whether you have that high glandular activity, you wouldn't know how to treat the cause. So you may be just using cleansers and certain shampoos, but then the dandruff still comes again. And that is the reason you must get evaluated by a certified dermatologist, and know what kind of skin or what kind of scalp you have. Accordingly, there are certain design treatments for
Okay.
you to avoid the dandruff, to treat it. Okay. So, but if you ask me, if you have a very mild dandruff, if you are, you're not symptomatic, there's not too much of itching, you can still go on and use certain, over-the-counter treatments like ketoconazole-based shampoos, or you can use zinc pyrithione-based shampoos, which is called as ZPTO. You may have seen the ads on TV where they show the anti-dandruff shampoo having ZPTO, right? So these are certain agents which can help in cleansing the extra fungal growth that happens onto the scalp.
Correct. And anything that you can do at home, I know India especially is a country full of home remedies for absolutely everything. So I'm sure our listeners would
Correct.
know if there's anything that they can do at home.
Yes. So, a lot of my patients also ask me, Doctor, what can we do at home? We do not want to take in a lot of treatments. And we need to realize that anything that has been done as a home remedy will be adding on to, like, a maintenance treatment. I'll just, make more stress on this point that the home remedies do not help treat your dandruff, but they may definitely assist the treatment that you are taking. Also, they may help in giving you good maintenance and symptom-free periods. So when you have a very mild dandruff and it's not very symptomatic, you want to cleanse your scalp particularly along with the active treatment that your dermatologist has advised, you can opt for home remedies. So certain agents like lemon, certain agents like apple cider vinegar, regular cooking vinegar, hair mask made up of curd. Okay, these are certain ingredients that reduces the recurrence of dandruff. And also, I'd like to make a point here that if you have dandruff, generally we feel that we have a dry scalp, and that's the reason we start oiling the scalp. So when you have dandruff, I strongly recommend do not use hair oils because they will just attract more of dirt and dust and pollution onto the scalp. Along with that, they also make your scalp very sticky. So you already have the reason, that it is an oily scalp and the glandular secretion is more, and you are applying oil over it. So that will just worsen your dandruff. So if you really want to apply oil on a dandruff scalp, you may apply it only on the loose end or on the shaft. Okay, try avoiding oil on the scalp. So these are the home remedies that one can use for dandruff management.
That was another interesting point that you brought up, and I was going to ask you too because I feel like everybody thinks oiling is a solution for every hair issue that
Correct.
has. So it's great that you clarified that. And just to check, this oil point was for people who generally have oily skin and an oily scalp. And if they do wish to use oil, they should oil the ends of the hair, you said, and not
And
into the
that's
touching it into the scalp, right?
that's right. That's right.
And is there any particular kind of hair oil that you recommend, or would anything?
No, I think hair oil is a very subjective thing. I mean, you can decide what kind of hair oil you would like to put for your hair, but then there are so many of options available in the market. So normally, I'd recommend avocado oil for dry frizzy hair, almond oil for greasy hair, and so mainly, what my point of saying is the oil should be based on the type of your hair and not the type of your scalp. All
Okay,
right. Because you are going to be conditioning your hair by applying the oil. It has nothing to do with the scalp.
correct.
The scalp conditioning comes when you are on treatment, you are having adequate water or hydration and a high protein diet. These are the steps where you can condition your scalp. But the oils, serums, conditioners, shampoos are all meant for the hair.
Correct, correct. And that's very interesting that you brought up hydration and a high protein diet. Can you talk a little more about how that kind of contributes towards hair health?
So definitely hydration, as we all know, it's an important part of your daily routine, which reflects good hair and skin both. If you are lacking on adequate hydration, you are going to have signs of dryness. You are going to have signs of fragility of skin and hair, and dry scalp, weak scalp. So it is important to drink lots of water to have more supple skin. Now that goes on when you have a facial skin coming to consideration, but then the scalp skin is also a part of the skin, and that's the reason you need to have adequate amounts of hydration. Now that doesn't mean you drink only water. That can be any kind of fluid intake incorporated into your daily diet. Now,
Right.
when I say a high protein diet, we need to know that the hair per se and skin is made up of protein. All
Correct.
right. So when your dietary protein intake is rich, is adequate, you are definitely going to have stronger hair. You're definitely going to have more glowing skin and more healthy looking scalp. Okay. So if your scalp is healthy, the hair that comes out of the scalp is going to be automatically healthier. So the breakage, the fragility, the brittleness, all of that decreases when you have nutritionally balanced your diet well.
Absolutely. And for everybody wondering here what adequate hydration really means, my favorite way of making sure that you're adequately hydrated is by checking the color of your urine. I feel like this is a really easy way to do it. So every time you go to the bathroom, your urine should be pale yellow to clear in color. It should not be too dark. That proves that you're hydrated enough. And like Dr. Shimoni said, it doesn't have to be just water. Even buttermilk, coconut water, soups, dals, everything counts towards your daily hydration status. And for those of you who are worried about your protein intake, as most of us always are, I have done a video about this on how much protein you need. I linked it right here, and it's also linked in the description below, so you can check it over there for more information. Great. So, in for hair health, would you also say that just a general healthy balanced diet would be something that would contribute towards maintaining a healthy scalp, healthy skin, healthy hair?
Absolutely. Most of the time, half of your hair fall related issues are sorted when you are having a healthy, well balanced diet.
Correct.
And I normally, insist on a very good proteinaceous, healthy diet, which is rich in multivitamins, which is rich in antioxidants, because that really takes down your load of taking medication. You
Absolutely.
really don't need them when you are balancing yourself with a good diet.
Absolutely. And for people again who want to know about this, I have specific videos on nutrients for hair health, how to maintain a balanced diet, all of these, because like you said, this is absolutely the foundation. It's the base on what everything else is made. And I have linked these videos in the description below. So please check them out. Great. So any more final pointers, tips, closing messages that you have for our listeners about dandruff? Is it something worrisome that everyone should definitely get checked out if they see happening?
See, since you're asking me about the worry factor, we also forgot to mention that stress, in turn can increase the tendency of you getting dandruff, can increase the tendency of you getting scalp eczemas. Okay. So we really need to find out whether the patient is stressed out or, has some underlying cause which is causing that kind of eruption on the scalp. And another thing that I want to mention is the reason why I'm asking for a dermatological interference into checking up of dandruff is because it can be confused with something like scalp psoriasis. It
Okay.
can be confused with fungal infections of the scalp, which are contagious. You can infect other people in the family sharing the same comb, sharing the same headband, rubber band.
Right.
So that needs to be taken care of. It can also be confused with certain other, eczema of the scalp, which can be associated with the permanent hair loss. So it is important to diagnose the type of dandruff that you have and then treat the same.
Oh, absolutely. That's so important. And a very good point that you brought up. There could be multiple conditions that we're not even aware of exist, and those would need to be eliminated to make sure that it's safe. So, yeah, that was an absolutely valid point that you brought up. So I think that brings us to the end of our interview today. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and for being here. And if anybody who heard this interview, everyone of you who heard this interview, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. We will happily answer them. I will also leave Dr. Shimoni's contact information if any of you want to speak with her directly about any concerns that you guys might have. All the information will be linked in the description below. So we hope to hear from you guys very soon. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shimoni, so much for giving us your time and for spending this afternoon with us.
Thank you, Amrita. Thank you for having me and believing that I could educate your viewers and spread this word of information. And definitely, we look forward to some great other videos, informative videos, and associations in the future. And I'd just like to tell everyone that take care, get vaccinated, and stay safe.
Yes. And guys, if you have any suggestions about video topics, skin related, hair related that you would like us to cover, please leave those in the comments below too. We'd love feedback from you all and what you would like to hear about. So this first one was about dandruff. We have some more fun stuff lined up for you. But like I said, if there's anything in particular that you're worried about, please let us know. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day, Dr. Shimoni.
Thank you. Wish you the same. Bye-bye. Take care.
That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this interview and found it helpful. If you did, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and share this video with others who will also enjoy it. If you have any other potential ideas for interviews that you would like me to cover, please leave them in the comments below. In addition, if you have any questions about today's topic, you can leave those in the comments too. You can also reach out to me on Instagram or simply send me an email. I hope to hear from you very soon. Until then, take care and keep shining.